Welcome to a walk through the tarot. This is the Magician, the first archetype the Fool has met on his journey through the cards. He's expecting tricks and illusions. They're the only magic he knows, but the Tarot Magician is different, as the Fool is about to find out. The Magician is an archetype of wisdom and knowledge, a master manipulator of creative energy. On his table are symbols for the elements: earth, water, fire, and air. The Magician understands the potential power of action, and he possesses all the essential skills and willpower that's required for transformation. The Tarot Magician has a long history. The three men who visited Bethlehem were known as the Magi. They were educated and connected to the world of priests, and Moses was said to be a magician, having learned the art in ancient Egypt, while Jesus turned water into wine and fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. The line between miracles and magic is a tenuous one. Over the years, the Magician has had many names: sorcerer, shaman, alchemist, warlock, wizard. He's been called a trickster, conjurer, or illusionist, performing on both the street and the stage. But as well as seemingly magical tricks and illusions, there's also high magic or ritual magic, the deeper, more mystical practice of ceremonial magicians like Aleister Crowley, who designed one of the most unique of all tarot decks, the Thoth Tarot. And Crowley described magic as the art and science of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. So we can think of magic as a spectrum, with popular entertainment at one end and more mystical rituals at the other. Let's take a closer look at the background of this card. In early tarot, the Magician is the archetypal trickster, skilled with deception, and older tarots show a variety of tools and tricks on his table. Italian decks named him Bagatelle, meaning magician, but as tarot spread across Europe, he became the bateleur for juggler or puppeteer. On the street, in the market, or part of a troupe of travelling players, the medieval magician performed and entertained, making money through cup and ball routines or guess the weighted dice. These magicians were skilled with sleight of hand, often jugglers, and nearly always charlatans. In the 18th and 19th centuries, tarot was adopted by the French occultists. In the 1700s, Antoine Comte de Gébelin claimed tarot originated in ancient Egypt. He transformed the magician card from a street performer to a more occult and esoteric figure, one who represented ancient Egyptian wisdom. And de Gébelin also renamed the objects on the table as symbols for the elements. A century later, Eliphas Levi introduced links between the magician and Hermeticism, which originated in ancient Greece and was attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a magician who blended Greek and Egyptian religious thought and practice. The Waite Coleman Smith magician continues this theme. Waite added the lemniscate or infinity symbol above his head and a belt shaped like the Ouroboros. The magician represents the creative energy it takes to turn thought into reality, how to manifest desire and make an idea or dream become a tangible object. He is always a sign of change. The card, like the other archetypes the Fool will meet on his journey, is rich with symbols, so let's take a closer look. The Magician is shown having one arm raised, holding a wand or tool of power. The wand appears in all the magician designs from the 15th century to the present day and is a tool for channeling energy. The other arm points downwards. Standing between heaven and earth, he is an intermediary between physical and non-physical worlds, a conduit for the power required to make change happen. The stance reinforces the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, which tells us every action has a reaction. Above the magician's head is the infinity symbol or lemniscate, symbolises the 5th element of ether in which everything else exists. He has control over the elements. He understands how each of the tools give him power, with the required knowledge to manipulate action and cause change. The Fool has all this potential too, but at this stage of the journey it's not yet been fully realised, unlike the magician who represents integration. The magician knows everyone comes from the same source, and his role is to show the Fool there's so much more to himself than he currently realises. So let's look at the messages of this card. Operating in the physical world of consciousness, the Magician represents change, and his role is to show the Fool he too can access the creative energy needed to transform his own world. The Fool has to understand and come to terms with his own duality, but he must learn to prioritise his inner power for positive results, to do no harm, have respect for others, to walk on the side of right and light rather than darkness. The Magician's lessons include: every action has a reaction. You are what you do. You get back what you give. Every cause has an effect, and everything has a consequence. Nothing happens in isolation. Creative energy is neutral, but the consequences of action can be positive or negative, depending on the intention. Our thoughts become realities, and the Fool has to learn about both positive and negative thinking, because what we send out is always returned threefold. The Magician is telling the Fool he has the power to make change happen, but first he must create the conditions for this to manifest. To talk or dream about possible outcomes is not enough. Nothing comes from nothing. Sitting around waiting for change won't manifest anything. Each tarot card also contains binary oppositions, and the Magician can be someone who uses their power for the wrong reasons, like dishonesty or selfishness, manipulating people for their own gain. Or they could be blocked, unable to move forward, maybe doubting their innate talent or simply feeling powerless to make things happen. The Magician warns the Fool not to be passive. He is responsible for his own future, and the tools of the tarot will help him discover who he really is, but ultimately he must do this alone. The archetypes he meets can offer guidance and advice, but he has to open the door, take the first step, make an effort. There might seem to be no immediate reward, but the more he practices, the sooner he'll see results. There's a lot to take in with the Magician, and if the Fool is going to take more responsibility for himself, he needs to take time to pause and consider the message. The Magician will always be there, waiting until his lessons have been absorbed. The next card on the Fool's walk through the tarot is the High Priestess. She guards the entrance to the Temple of Knowledge and symbolises the Fool's deeper unconscious layers, the world of emotions, dreams and intuition. So join us as we take the next step on a walk through the tarot.